Well, good afternoon, and welcome back to another Bold Biz Chats. I have an amazing guest. Her and I really don't know each other, but we are connected. Oh gosh, I don't remember, but I can't wait for you all to meet her. She's like 1,000 light years ahead of her time, and not even old enough to be doing as long as what she has been doing. But welcome back to another Bold Biz Chats, and we are live at boldradiostation.com. Big shout out to the team; they're amazing. They work their butts off to get these shows up and out the door. I appreciate them. And a big shout out to one of our sponsors of Bold Radio, and that's Razor Canine. If any of you out there listening has a dog, you must get one of these leashes. My baby Grace, her trainer, and his wife are making these dog leash in their home, and that you can get them on Ray's website. It is www.razor, RAZORK9.com. These are custom-made super grip dog leash, and oh my God, they're the best thing since sliced bread. Walking your dogs with. They are waterproof. They will never rot. They have an awesome grip, wet or dry, especially wet, because I do walk Grace out in the rain. The material is soft and feels really good in your hands. They're just amazing. He is machine sewn and double cap riveted for added strength. So get online and go get yourself a dog leash from Razor Canine, and Ray's amazing, and check out his website. Go get yourself one of those leashes. But let's move on here. We've got a holiday coming up here in the United States, so this is going to be a short week. I hope you all are going to be getting out there in some nice weather and barbecuing and partying and having some fun. But let's move forward. I want to bring my guest out, Dr. Alison J.K., who is light years ahead of her time. Dr. Alison, come on out. Welcome to the show.
Hi, I'm happy to be here. Thank you, Kim, for inviting me, and I'm excited for this hour together.
Yeah, I am too. I just an hour. I got to tell you, Dr. Alison, an hour is not going to be long enough for everything that you do. I've got your whole beautiful personal media kit here, business media kit here in my hand, and you have done a lot, and you're way ahead of your time. So before we go any further, please share with the listeners a little bit about yourself, please.
Oh wow, okay. That's interesting. So I'm going to do it myself. Let's see. Trying to feel you out and see what they most need to hear. So you're really impressed with how much I've done. And people actually have said to me, I've crammed more life in my 40 years of life than most people do in their whole life. And I guess a way to really introduce that as an understanding of what the work is that I do that can contribute to you in your life, for all the listeners and you, Kim, is I never settle. I've never let myself get bored. When people have said to me throughout the years, I was bored, I don't even understand that concept. So, and I'm not saying that just because it sounds good. It's genuine. I had my best girlfriend in college, who's now an MD up in Massachusetts, tell me, Alison, you never let yourself get comfortable. So as soon as I do, I've moved out of the country, changed professions, grown more. That's what she means by it. So I have 23 years of meditation experience. I've been teaching meditation for 22 years. I lived in Asia for 10. That's part of what Kim's referring to. Yep. And what my friend is referring to study subtle energy, to go to the source of the people who work from the understanding that energy is important, leaving behind the paradigm over here in the West for that decade that the physical is what is primary and not energy. And so I've learned that the mind, in its preference for the status quo, that's the ego mind, and that's the part of our mind that I teach my students in yoga meditation, all ages, both genders, all around the world, to pull up and off of, because we are not that mind, the thinking mind that gives us the thoughts, that tells us who we are, that tells us what to stick to, that hones in on a certain theme and stays attached to it like it's a hawk with a fish in its talons. that mind with its thoughts that it repeats out like a factory, because it's what it does. It's doing its job. That's what prefers the status quo. So when I have clients come to me from around the world and they're saying, I really want A, and then we talk, and I don't normally do a lot of talk. I mean, I go right into the energy medicine sessions, but as we're doing it, there's coaching that comes out to help the intellectual mind understand concepts. And so if we say we want A and we see our behavior not going for A, but actually going for a B or something that is not what we say we want, then we know we have an unconscious and subconscious block. So my first major in college was psychology. And after 3 semesters, I saw how incomplete it was with its focus on hardwiring and industrial psychology and the application of that to capitalism. For example, it wasn't teaching me why do humans do what they do and what makes a human being happy. So I left that major and studied humans through the form of English literature, through psychology, through English literature and creative writing. And that's what I taught in the classroom as well as AP Psych when I was in the international school system. And that's how I was able to travel over to Asia in different parts, because I was teaching at the international school system, diplomats' kids and CEOs' kids they still want to have sent back to the States for university. So I find our system in the West incomplete in its ability to help us understand how to be happy and well. And what I found in the East is, for example, one of the backdrops to that entire hemisphere is Buddhism. And many people with monasteries that you can see out and about on the road, like we see churches here where there's monks. Monks go out into the markets and they buy their vegetables in the morning. You see them on their scooters. I remember the first time I saw that, I was amazed. Monks drive scooters and they go shopping? But you see that. It's a part of your everyday life, and it reminds you of the sacredness of and people working with their minds.
Yeah.
So there's this kind of undercurrent that happens where people are working with their minds and they're checking their energy. So when they walk into a room, they're not just lambasting their energetics all throughout the room and letting people just in that extroverted way we're taught to in America know where they stand and saying hi and filling up the room. It's a check when you walk into the room over there to come in and be in harmony with what's already going on in there, because it's a group collective mentality over there. It's not the emphasis on individuality here. And I had to change my grading standards because of that when I started working within the westernized Chinese culture over in Taiwan at the international school, because they don't emphasize individuality, they emphasize group. So there's all these different undercurrents that create a very different set of beliefs and a very different set of practices that I incorporated after 10 years of living there increasingly. And so I wrote my first book, What If There's Nothing Wrong, my last year there, to help Americans and Westerners see, for those who didn't make the same choices as me, who chose to get married straight out of college and settle down and have kids and a mortgage and a job and commute. That's not what would have made me happy. So I wrote this book, What If There's Nothing Wrong, to help others as if they were over there, to see from my perspective how everything we are living is based on our thoughts, which is based on our beliefs, including our health care or lack thereof, including our beliefs about longevity, including our beliefs about mental well-being, because the basic tenet in Buddhism is every human mind is a neurotic mind. Here's the tools to work with your own particular flavor of neuroses. Whereas here, it's, let's label it. Yeah, it's just such an entirely different existence. And so the book's title is What If There's Nothing Wrong? If we just deal with the thinking mind and we learn how to detach from the thoughts that make us feel heavy or depressed or burdened, and we continue to come back and reconnect to our connection to Source that flows in through the crown chakra, we can stay in that alignment, we can stay in that connection, and we have a much more flourishing life. So how's that?
Yeah. No, you, first of all, Dr. Alison, like I said, when I was reading all of your stuff, I'm like, oh my God, she's going to be my guest Buddha Gandhi for an hour, because seriously, I mean, that's basically what you are doing, for lack of better words, in such a short amount of time. I mean, going over to study, in Asia for 10 years, and, your nickname being the lightning bolt, and, you're, the founder of Vibrational Upgrade Systems. And, you are in an arena that has been around since Mother Earth was birthed, so to speak, and it's a beautiful platform of healing, but we're so pounded into our heads to come on over here to this other arena for healing. And quite frankly, it's making us sicker, so to speak. And this is all, what I love about the whole mind, body, energetic spirit medicine practitioner that, and I added a couple words in there for you, Dr. Alison, of your title, that you dance in and that you practice in, is that's the self-healing world to me personally. That it's the emotional balance of the well-being, and I don't think, and I'm not a doctor. This is some of my common sense and some of my opinions coming through. I feel as a society, as a race, if you will, as a human being race, if you will, I feel we are the furthest disconnected from the mind, body, and spirit than we ever have been. And we have every single flippin' tool available at our fingertips to come back and reconnect. And we are the furthest. And when I say we, I say it as a society, because we're not all practicing that, but it's a judgmental statement. But I feel that we're all disconnected from that. Teaching, let's begin with teaching meditation. I hear so many people, well, I don't know where to begin, and my mind doesn't quiet down. Well, our minds are not supposed to shut off when we go into meditation. In fact, I was meditating this morning, and I had to keep listening to myself breathe because my mind was very active this morning. It was very active, but I was in a state of meditation. It's still just as effective.
Yes. Kim, you bring up such a great list of points. The first one I want to address is directly what you just ended with the meditation. I have found, I love addressing this point. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to. Westerners, particularly Americans, with our brand of mind, our brand of thinking, to be productive, to trust the tangible, to look for the scientific evidence. And I'm not saying that that's not bad. I love rationality. I love logic.
Yep.
But what I am saying is that it cultivates a certain kind of mind that when it sits down to meditation, the expectations from Hollywood consumerism and commercialized society as customer service, the best on the planet we have. And if something goes wrong, we demand that we get it the way that we were promised in our purchasing, and then we get what we want. And so this mind that's cultivated to experience and expect life to show up a certain way, when it sits down to meditate, the most typical thing is what you said. I can't get my mind to quiet. It's not meant to quiet. You, as a monk, as myself, practicing meditation for 23 years daily, I still have thoughts come across my mind while I'm sitting in meditation. The gaps or the spaces between thoughts is much bigger than when I first sat down. My ability to detach and not have thoughts ruffle me in any kind of bodily hormonal reaction or any kind of tension or tensing up or any kind of reactivity to any thought is definitely anchored. But when I am walking first-timers and 30th timers through the process, you're sitting down to observe your actual mind's behavior. And as you said, Kim, today you had difficulty quieting down, and that's one particular name in Sanskrit. There's an word for that. When it seems like it's ADD or ADHD, as we refer to it in the United States. There's another Sanskrit, which is the ancient language of India, where Buddhism comes from. Meditation was taken out of yoga. The yogic sages came up with, I'm a trained yoga teacher certified in India, in Ashtanga. It's the most traditional form of yoga. There's 8 limbs to yoga. 5 of them are about working with the mind. 1 is about the body postures. So you can look at what we did with that coming over here. But
Yeah.
the point being is that there's all of this understanding about the nature of the mind. And in fact, that was my first signature talk, is the nature of the mind. And it still is. You can see it. I have a meditation product on my website. It's the least expensive product, and it's the strongest tool for anybody, because it gives you it walks you through Buddha's most frequently used form of meditation. And in Sanskrit, there's a term for when your mind's dull and lethargic. In Sanskrit, there's a term for when your mind is racing and can't focus. It's not a permanent, labeled, and then therefore diagnosed situation. That's one of the biggest misunderstandings we function our entire society around in the West, is that things are static and unchanging. And the nature of energy, which is what has now been proven from quantum physics to trump the tangible, it becomes physicalized as a wave in quantum physics. So everything is existing as energy first in the wave form, which is why frequency or vibration has everything to do with changing the way we feel or think. And so it starts out as energy moving in a wave, and then a thought repeated can lock that energetics down into a particle, which then starts to create matter. Mm-hmm. So it's not one single thought that you're creating matter from. It's a repetition. So we get leeway there. But the point is that if we observe our mind, or we observe the way something is one moment, like you were talking about, Kim, in one meditation on one day, what we do in the West is we make that permanent, and we diagnose it.
Yeah.
We diagnose that. And energy is always changing, especially in the times now. And Kim, you were talking about the times now. And what if, now you can hear the dealing with duality. We make things so black and white when we're coming from the ego mind, which is our personality structured mind. But what if, Kim, that the yin-yang symbol of Taoism, of the ancient Chinese culture, what if we have parts of society getting to such a form, as you mentioned, of being separate from what really leads to mind-body wellness? Because the contrast needs to get that strong before the people who do prefer comfort will change. And the people who do have profit motives invested in the current structure will allow it to change. What if it needed to get that bad before it could change?
You know, Dr. Alison, I think it is that bad. I just think people are so used to feeling that way, and pop a pill and keep us further away again from the mind body spirit connection, because we're so convoluted with so many things. And don't get me wrong, I love the internet. I love the social media. I love all the beautiful stuff that we have, but it keeps us so far away from that inner connection. I mean, I hear people say it all the time, Dr. Alison. Oh my God, I'm so connected. I'm so connected. I'm so connected. No, not really. Not really. Yeah, right, we have every single damn app to keep you focusing on time, and every single, synced product to keep you focused, and we're the worst focused of a society right now. We don't have to be responsible, and I have an ache, so I'm going to pop a freaking pill. And it's like, have you ever thought about maybe putting a little bit of ice on it and laying down and doing some basic stretches? And I own one of my other businesses. I own a fitness business. So I hear it. Oh, I've got this ache and pain, but I'm just going to pop lots of ibuprofen. And it's like, you go, girl. Rock on, sister. Rock on. It's like the human being is, and excuse me for this pun or words, it is the most powerful piece of machinery walking Mother Earth, and we're also the most destructive. And so it's so interesting on that mind, body, and spirit. And and then when you even say that, and Dr. Alison, I please tell me you do get people who go, "Ooh, she's too woo-woo for me."
No, I don't, Kim.
Yay,
actually, because
good, yay.
You know why? Because in my world, that's an ignorant point of view at this point. To dismiss energy as something real and to call it woo, just got to grow up. You got to open I don't even want to say open your mind. You just got to learn more. At this point, in this day and age, we are in humanity's spiritual awakening. I had a radio show myself for 2 years and a half. Voice America approached me when I got back from Asia and asked me to do a radio show around the December 21st, 2012 alignment to help people understand better what it was. And so I was invited by Dr. Susan Shumsky, a main voice in the meditation world, and a bunch of other experts to accompany her and a bunch of other experts on a cruise down to the Mayan ruins at Chichen, as a yoga teacher, meditation teacher, and energy medicine practitioner. So I did. They were watching through telescopes on the rooftop of the cruise ship, the sky. During this time, we got special permission to be with a Mayan shaman during the actual alignment at the pyramids, and he told us that the Mayans, when they saw what was going to be happening, because you remember, and you'll appreciate this, Kim, apparently, from what little I know so far, they didn't have the internet or TV back in the ancient days, so their entertainment was the night sky. So they understood the constellations. That's what they looked at, and they interpreted that. And so when they were doing that, and they were given the understanding of what was coming in December 21st, 2012, or around that time, that's what made the Mayan Empire build those stone triangular pyramids to help, if they're shaped up to the heavens or the cosmos, as it's referred to in the Chinese culture when you're doing Qigong, which I also teach. When you have a triangular shape facing, the peak of it is facing the cosmos or the heavens, it's going to help the earth harness these high vibrations. So we are in humanity's greatest evolutionary leap ever. Trying to, and you can go on NASA.com, NASA, our space industry's leading organization, and look at the constellations that have been happening in the night sky from around 2012. You will see over and over again, this hasn't happened in 500 years. When this did happen, this is when the stars of Bethlehem were aligned and three wise men went to Jesus. This is the exact same configuration that was in the sky.
Yep.
So over and over again, you'll see interpretations of that on NASA's website, that we are in an extraordinary time right now. And for anyone to dismiss the power of energy, it's just ignorant at this point. So when people go into that, they're not usually around me. There's some other practitioners dealing with it. I'm way too far ahead.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I help elevate people to learn how to connect, stay connected, ride these waves, work with them to our benefit. I can't be bothered with that old school. My first book, What If There's Nothing Wrong, does bother with that. It spends 416 pages presenting the science and the ancient beliefs behind energy trumping the physical. And that's what you learn by living in the Eastern Hemisphere for 10 years, that they have always known that what is eternal, what is energy, what is the soul, is what trumps the physical, that the physical takes form around energy and due to energy, which flows due to our thoughts, feelings, and emotions that are most frequently felt. So,
yeah, it's really cool. I mean, it is really neat. It is really cool. Okay, so let's take a second here. Dr. Alison, how can everybody that is listening get in touch with you?
There's a really fun way. You can go to, my website, but this Thursday night, as a matter of fact, Kim, and you're welcome to come, is my monthly free call I do on the last Thursday of every month, and my vibrational upgrade system is what I use on the call. So people raise their hands on the call. So if you go to my website, Alison with one L, J, just the letter J is in Jumping Jacks, K-A-Y. I'm also a personal trainer, Kim, by the way, in Mind Body Fitness with certification in fitness nutrition. So I'm right there with you. So go to AlisonJK.com, and you can sign up for, on the right-hand top right, I believe there's something that gets you a free 30-minute clearings on the blocks to success, which is me going in with a vibrational upgrade system and clearing out your unconscious and subconscious blocks that are the most typical to people stopping themselves from choosing success. Because, Kim, everything you're talking about is choice, whether it's to consider it woo-woo or it's to pop a pill instead of stretching or to not meditate or to meditate. All of it comes down to choice, and we are the animal given free will. So if you want to get more help with getting closer to choosing A and aligning with what you say that you want and choosing that, then that's exactly what my work does. And it clears out any unconscious and subconscious influences that are not conscious. You're not aware of them. You can't get to it through talk therapy, in my opinion. And I studied that. You know, it was my first major in college, but I don't see us able to get to it, because if we could get to it with our conscious mind, we'd be creating what we say we want instead of saying, I'm blocked. So you can get to my website, AlisonJK.com. There's a free call this Thursday night at 9 p.m. New York time. Even if you miss it, you can get the recording and then listen to the clearings and what I do on the call. That can also be shared, the effects of by you, even if you're not the one being answered on the call. So that's one way. And then my team, they're taking incoming requests as a page that's, is this you, where you can fill out a quick checkbox to see what your needs are and what your desires are, and then they can direct you accordingly to what services, products will be the best for you.
So thank you so much for sharing that and on that call for Thursday. And I think that's awesome that you're offering that. And again, hop on over to Dr. Allison's website. So Dr. Allison, and we'll cite that again here before we wrap up the show in about another 15 minutes. So who comes to you? Who seeks you out? What are their angsts? And why are they, Dr. Allison, please, who's your clients?
Kim, the beauty of that answer is it's going to sound funny. So let me just say it a different way. The beauty of that answer is anybody who wants help having something that they don't currently have, or trying to get to something that they're not currently at. A feeling, certain lifestyle level. So yes, that means money. Yes, that means career choice, a career change, which I frequently work with people on. Putting it in the most concise language is somebody who wants help getting to something new for themselves in their life and their living, whether that's letting go of the lower chronic back pain, or that's having a more robust connection with source or their intuition, or it's learning how to work with these energies, learning how come they feel other people so much more, why they feel like they're absorbing other people's negativity more, because that's a symptom of the times we're living in right now. Or somebody who wants to stop their corporate job and really live their life, as they say in America, aligned with their authentic self. So it's anybody. I mean, I have a whole gamut. I have a doctor who just joined my practice, Western MD OBGYN, last week, because she's going by all of these standards of what it means to be a doctor and what is required for her to set up a practice. And she is recently divorced with 4 kids and has to have some help with purging her beliefs that she's been conditioned so that she can lead herself and her kids forward into a thriving life. I mean, it's just the gamut of people.
Yeah. That's amazing. It's I personally would love my tribe, coming out of that Western part of everything and coming back into where the body heals itself with guidance like that. My primary MD is a holistic alternative medicine, and back when he graduated medical school and then stepped in to medicine, he saw where this country, this world was headed, and stepped out and has out of control. He has an out of control practice. I mean, him and 2 other physicians, MDs, all holistic, and they write books about Alison. I mean, come on, I hear so many people, you can't use salt, and I'm like, God. I mean, the lack of education, the ignorance. Salt can heal you, and he wrote a book on heal your way to health with salt. Which is of course the Himalayan or the Celtic sea salt. And he's just amazing, and we need more peeps like you and him in society. We quite frankly, we've become a very lazy society. We've got instantaneous with Google, Google something. It's the same thing with our health. We go pop a pill. We literally go pop a pill to feel better when we have so many other natural things that our bodies can naturally and wholeheartedly respond to. I mean, meditation, essential oils, clearing the chakras, all of that stuff. So, Dr. Alison, talk a little bit about your vibrational upgrade.
Okay, so the human body is naturally created for health. It's not naturally created for death, decay, and disease. What happens is we can, and I talk about this in my first book, What If There's Nothing Wrong? We can have a list of cofactors that occur simultaneously that then allow for us to be taken out of that natural healthy balance. and usually stress is one of them, and toxicity is another one. And in that stress, the emotional well-being, the robustness of a happy, hearty, healthy set of emotions is not present. So interestingly, the AMA 2 years ago came out with an admission that 50% of all disease can be traced back to an emotional disturbance. Now that was, there's others who say it's 100%. I believe that there's physical aspects that definitely take a toll. So there's an element of toxicity that helps shift a system physically out of balance as well. But we have access now to super herbs and super tonic herbs from the Ayurvedic system and the Chinese system and superfoods, not spinach. I mean, like the way that they jump on fads to get a blog post generated or an article written in the fitness magazines. Spinach is a superfood. It's not. It needs to have at least 7 to 12 health benefits, not that it contains a singular vitamin or not that it contains 7 great vitamins, but it has to have foundational support to various foundational systems within our body, mind, and spirit to be qualified as a superfood. So it's interesting. It's the same thing. I'll talk about my vibrational upgrade system in a minute. It's the same concept as, so I do this every Tuesday night. I do a group call from 9 to 10, and this is one way that many people access working with me. It's a live group call. You can get the download as soon as it's over. People listen to it every single day. They use it to replace their own negative self-talk with positive self-talk gradually over time. And one of the things that I am always doing as a clearing is all of life has my back. All of life supports me. Because the BP oil spill is an example of this concept. When that happened, there was toxicity of the water that was from the oil lingering at the surface of the water. All of a sudden, a new bacteria emerged from the bottom of the ocean, came to the top, and ate off the oil. Imagine that. So what I'm saying is that as we progress with what seems like these doomsday kinds of situations, life is always a question trying to get to more life. So if consciousness and energy works in the way of how do I expand? How do I have well-being? How do I create more life? So that's the nature of the cells circulating within our systems. And that's what I work with and activate further with the vibrational upgrade system. Whether I'm using yoga therapy postures to help a person open up their second chakra or take away the chronic pain in their lower back or open up their hips, or I'm using nutritional support to help them with a more robust level of immunity. And David Wolf calls it stacking the odds in your favor. Or I'm working with the primary thing I do really is energy medicine, in that it's helping a person through their chakra system, because the chakras mean wheel when you take it out of Sanskrit and into English. And I have found it as the most reliable roadmap to understand anything within a person's life that's going on that they want different, and able to then go to the wheel. We have 7. They're down our central column or spine, and they're in the front of the body and the back of the body, and each one relates to a certain aspect of life. So the foundational one that's at the tailbone that governs the that governs the legs, the feet, and the knees is the root chakra, and that also governs how well we allow for foundational support in our lives, meaning our money issues, if we have money issues, are in the root chakra. If we move around a lot, or if we change jobs a lot, or if we trip a lot, or if we're spacey, then that's all in the root chakra. If our immune system is low, if our vitality is low, that's the foundational system to support us at the foundational level. The second chakra is in the lower abdomen. It's the same thing as the dantian, the lower dantian in Qigong. And so that's the one, every chakra is attached to a gland, covering all of the major glands of the hormonal system. There's been studies done. Candace Pert, who was doing studies for pharmacology, actually found that the major gathering of nerve plexes, or the major receptor sites throughout our body where our body receives messages from our brain, the major gathering of nerve plexi are at each of the 7 main chakras. So there's been increasing scientific evidence that backs up the ancient understanding of the chakra system. So at the second chakra, in the lower abdomen, that's the right to feel the way you feel. And it governs our hips, it governs our lower back, it governs the upper reproductive hormonal glands, or the hormonal glands of the upper reproductive tract. The third one is your right to desire what you desire. It's at the top of the digestive tract. The pancreas is the hormone associated with it. And so if you feel like you're being productive, this is the will that we manifest from. So people will often go to stimulants to help because they feel like they're being to produce more than they actually are capable of. This is the center that's involved there. This is also the center that has the empathic equipment for everybody.
Yep.
So this goes back to that old saying about having a gut feeling. It's where we absorb other people's energy from. It's our sensory data for how others are feeling, and to pick up sensory data in our environment feeling-wise to help warn us. So this one can get spun excessively by not having the appropriate balance and therefore boundaries where we're self-contained and we're not just busy picking up other people's stuff. And that can, when we are out of balance and we are totally tuned in to other people more than we are our own self, that then gets spun excessively and we end up with anxiety. I don't want to say we end up with anxiety that then gets diagnosed in the Western system. What I'm saying is we end up with an anxiousness that runs our digestive tract. Mm-hmm. So then the chakra column, if you go on my website and you went to the Chakra Attunement audio series, I think it's in the shop, and you look, there's a list of the mental, the physical, and the emotional aspects to each chakra. You could see when I present this, whether it's to a couple of hundred people or it's to 50 people or it's to 10, by the time I'm at like the third chakra, Kim, and listeners, people are sitting back in their chairs because they hear where their issues are, so they understand what chakra it is. And then I have a product that clears them. I don't just list the problems. No way. I have the tools. So my tools are clearing the chakras of the unconscious and the subconscious beliefs that would lead you to absorb more of other people's energy, which could be you grew up in a household where maybe mom and dad weren't ready for you to be born. And so you felt that because our first language is energy, not Spanish or Chinese or English, but it's actually energy. And so you felt that as a child. From ages 0 to 2, we have no sense of separation from our parents. We feel everything they feel. And then when we start with saying, no, it's a terrible 2 stage, that's our ego starting to form, or our own individuation is starting to happen. So from ages 0 to 8, all of our subconscious and unconscious wiring is happening as we go about learning how to live life on planet Earth. How does Brother John get love from Dad? Oh, he follows Dad around. He does whatever Dad does. So, okay. Well, wait a minute. Brother John doesn't seem to say anything he tells me to Dad. Oh, so we must have to keep quiet with male authority figures. So that subconscious conclusion gets wired into the irrelevant chakra, which is the fifth chakra, which is connected to communication as well as connected to freedom. And so if we feel restricted or limited in the choices available in our life, we'll end up with tight upper shoulders or traps, trapezoids, or a tight neck, or possibly a tight jawline. So there's clearings available to clear out, because any kind of stuck energy, instead of it flowing, because we have this chakra column that is, it's a wheel. That's what a chakra is, again. And so it's meant to turn this vital life force energy or chi or prana throughout the body. And when it doesn't, that's because there is an unconscious or subconscious belief that locks down the energy and the stagnancy to the flow. So what I do is I go in with my, at this point, expertise and knowledge from 20 plus years of doing this with thousands of people around the world. They come to me, and within minutes I can know, not only from what they're saying, know what chakra it is, but from being able to see it and intuitively diagnose it, so to speak. So I then go into the relevant chakra and apply more attention there, while I also work with all the other chakras too to help design, get the overall flow going. And then that's with my hands on. And whether a person's with me locally on the table or they're over in Paris and I'm in Florida and I'm working with them from a distance on Skype. But then there's also the group call where I can pull the beliefs, and I can not just pull the beliefs, but then I can put in, my favorite part is that I put in the positive or the affirmation. Instead of I'm meant to be seen and not heard, I can then put in I'm meant to also be heard as well as seen.
Yep.
So it helps a person's system, have the replacement of the positive. And so it's so much fun what I do, and anything is possible. And it's such a challenge, Kim, really, to explain to people how much is possible when they're given this view that is limited about how healthy the human body can get in these days and times, how long the lifespan typically is in these days and times, how much we're able to conceive and understand, how far our intelligence is meant to stretch.
Yep.
We are just this pulsating form of life that just happens to be spinning energy in a body, and we are, as you said, an amazing tool. You didn't use the word amazing. I don't usually either. We are this immense, we can do anything. I mean, we are this immense powerhouse. They say, there's a measurement. If we were to take, I don't know how many of us it is, but if we could, with our own innate, because chi or prana or life force is electric and it's magnetic, and you can feel it in between your hands. If you did the most simplistic qigong move called the pushing of hands, and you had your hands palms facing each other out in front of your heart by about 1.5 feet from your body, and you tried to push your hands together, but you didn't. You didn't apply force. You just allowed your hands to come closer together, stay about 1.5 inches apart without them touching, and now slowly pull them apart to about 1.5 feet away from each other, and now slowly bring the palms closer together again. You're going to start to feel the electricity in the form of tingling or heat, and you're going to start to feel the magnetism in the form of, it feels like there's resistance or something in between your palms. That's chi. That's life force. So there's some scientific measurement that if there were a certain number of us, we could, with this inherent energy within our system, power the entire city of D.C. for 1.5 years. I know that might sound really wild, but it's just, look at what is happening in between your hands. That's the tingling of electricity, and the repulsion of your hands not touching is the magnetism. That's power.
Yeah, that is. It's energetic power, and we're all an energetic being. That's amazing. All right, before we wind the show down, Dr. Alison, one more time, tell everybody how they can get in touch with you.
Alison with 1 L, JKAY.com.
Yeah,
and then there's contact forms there.
Yep, please reach out to Dr. Alison, and I jump on her and the last Thursday of the month. She offers a call, and before we wrap this show up, Dr. Alison, I want to say this. It's out there online in the online business world, everybody wants more clients, everybody wants more money, everybody wants, and it just comes back down around. When you're talking about your chakras, is it's just being stuck within ourselves, within that internal mindset, that internal voice. I've got a name for the internal voice. I call her the hag in the attic. But it's all that messy internal stuff that we've gone, and then at the end of the day, we wonder why we're not receiving what it is that we truly desire, and quite frankly, we truly deserve here as human beings. And so, it all comes back around to reaching outside of ourselves for that healing, when it's like, not to minimize or anything, but it's like Dorothy clicking her ruby red slippers. There's no place like home. There's no place like home. It all comes from within. And don't let that ego voice or ego mind or that hag in the attic say, screw this, I don't need help, I can do this myself, because that's that ego keeping you clamped down and keeping you comfortable in a place where you're truly not comfortable. Excuse me
1 second. That's actually what's going to happen. When the soul is wanting to expand, when the soul deems it's time to expand, there's this flush of energy into our system so that we have the energy to take the new steps and come out of the status quo. And the natural contrast to that is the ego mind doing its job, wanting to keep us safe, saying no and giving a list of, you don't have time, you don't have money, this will happen, that will happen. No, you can't.
Yes.
Just expect it.
Yes. So don't Don't conform to that ego, that voice, that internal voice. We need that internal voice. Don't get me wrong. We need it, but it's how are we going to manage it as opposed to let it continue to control us. So, Dr. Alison, I knew the show would go by so fast, and there's so far in such a short amount of time that you have been spending in your beautiful human suit on this planet. You have accomplished a lot in a short amount of time. So I think the easiest way to handle things right now is just ask everybody to stop on by the website and go from there and get connected with you, because you really are, you are that lightning bolt. You are really before your time, so to speak, and have arrived. And I know you understand that. Not everybody listening may or may not understand that, but it's so true. I mean, you are my radio show guest today. You are my Buddha. You are my Gandhi of beautiful, energetic medicine that you bring to this planet. And so thank you so much for being my guest. I really appreciate it. I want everyone to get out there and reach out and check you out on your website and how beautiful you are inside and out. You vibrate that through the web there, and just reach out and get connected. And I would love, this is a huge gift to everybody. I would love for everyone to learn how to meditate, but what works for them of their meditation, and not the sitting there thinking how everybody, no, that's not how it works. It's a form, meditation can be taught, and it's not perfect. Meditation is never perfect, so, and it's a beautiful tool. It really is a beautiful tool.
A life-changing tool.
It really is. Tool. Yeah, it is. I agree with you. I'm right there with you. I agree with you. So thank you, Dr. Alison, so much for being my guest today. Get on out there, make it a great day. And
thank you for having me on. It really was a joy to be with you.
Thank you so much. And of course, we off the air, we will continue this connection, and I hope to continue this connection. Yeah. And everyone, go on out there and be bold. Reach out to Dr. Alison, because I can never go through a whole show without saying this, but you know what? We want money, we want clients, and we want to be successful, but we're still, fucked up in our own personal internal lives. And I couldn't go through a whole show without dropping that. So you know what? Take deep breaths, reach out, drink more water, eat a little bit more healthier, exercise, meditate. Find your shtick that's really going to help you move forward, as opposed to continually living in pain and being numb. So please reach out to Dr. Alison J.K. out there. And again, make it a great day. I'll hear you all right back here next week. Same place. No, you won't. It's a holiday weekend. The following week, same place, same time, boldradiostation.com. See you. Make it a great week.
Thanks for joining yet another Real Life Chats with Kim. Come on back next week, same place and time, where the boldest of bolds share their truths.